So, in this lectures, the lecture 2, I will discuss about challenges and needs of 21st century education. So, if I say that what are the challenges in 21st century education, just see the slide once and then think about. Let us go to the first point. It said how to improve student engagement. That means, what is the problem today? If you think about 20 years back education system and today's education system is completely different. If you see that time when we study, or maybe 20 years back when the people are studying, in especially in engineering education, what we thought that the class, whatever the information is delivered in the class, and that is syllabus, and we have to go through that information and to give the exam, because that time the information is not that much of available to our fingertip, because the books are very costly. In central library there is a few books are there. So, resources are not available, but think about today, all resources are available in the Google. So, we can say after Google, the delivering information from or listening information from some in a classroom is not required. So, that time what is happened in the classroom, that every students are a passive listeners and teachers are delivering the information. But today what is required? Information is available in the Google. If I give a lecture on any topic, student can say the same topic is available in the Google from some, and available in the video lecture, available in the web form, available in the many kinds of information is available. Then why students will come to my class? So, that is the biggest problem is today is student engagement. So, what is the main problem in student engagement? First problem, the students are not attending the class. So, that because if we ask any students, you take a survey of and ask any student of any institute, why you are not going to the class? They said the maximum class are nothing but a delivering information. So, why should I go to the class? Because information is available in my mobile phone, information is available in my desktop computer. So, gathering information is not required. Okay. So, they are not interested about the class. Even you may say, okay, my attendance is mandatory, below 75% attendance I will deregister you, or most of the students who are sitting in the back bench are doing active Facebook, sitting in the class. So, whether they are present in the class or absent in the class does not matter, because they are bodily present, mindly absent. So, student engagement is 0. So, now you may say that today what is happening, that everybody said that how much day you have read to clear this exam, whether it is a BTech level, whether it is a honors level, whether it is a MSc level, whether it is any level of examination today in systems. If you ask how many days you require to clear the paper, they will say, sir, before the exam 7 days is sufficient. So, if you see, even if engineering education, if I say before the exam 7 days is sufficient to clear the paper, all the papers on some semester. So, if there is a 8 semester, 7 into 8, 56 days, why I require a 4-year engineering program? So, biggest challenge, instead of engaging the students only 7 days, how I should engage the students more than 7 days. So, throughout the semester I want to engage the students. If you say yes, we have teach them and told them to read it. Now think about the scenario. A student does not know before they come to the class what is the topic and how much we will cover in the next class. So, they only know the subject name and some topic list. They does not know next class which topic will be discussed and how much depth will be discussed. So, they have not gone through that previously, they gone through, so they come in the class, they know, okay, I have to figure out how much teacher is covering and how what are the topics. So, they come in the class and they write down some notes and they thought, okay, I will cover in the end of the semester, I will just clear repeater and I will pass the exam. So, the process need to be changed so that I can improve the student engagement. Even English honors, the student said, okay, at the end of just before the exam I will collect some note from the teachers, I just remembering the note and give the exam, I pass the exam. Then why I require that entire 1 year study, only 7 days note collection and give the exam and pass the exam? So, I require an education system where or education process by which I can increase the student engagement. So, how to do that is the challenge today's education. What teaching learning process, what kind of curriculum I should follow in my class so that students are engaged throughout the year or whatever the education specified educational time. Students, nobody has read anything in hostels, going in the hostel, they have never thought it, because they said, okay, this is the syllabus, this is the coverage, I have written down in the note, I will cover it in the beginning of the just before the exam and I will give the exam. That is why what is happening, if you ask any questions to the students, maybe it is taught in first years, they cannot answer it, because they have read it for the exam only. So, that is the next challenge, how to equip student with 21st century knowledge, skill and attitude. So, the biggest problem, if you ask any students, I just give an example of BTech students, in the final year, you take any student, ask them, what are the subject you have studied throughout the entire course? The student will not only name the subject, what are the subject they have covered. Think about the skill. So, what has happened? They have read it only for the exam, and after the exam they forgot everything. But what is required to the 21st century? Not only the knowledge, I have to develop the skill set among the students. So, knowledge is not sufficient. Okay, I am remembering the Maxwell wave equation in examination time, and after the exam I forgot the Maxwell wave equation. That kind of knowledge is not required by 21st century education. We require a knowledge that is skill, not knowledge only, and attitude. Think about these pictures. I will show you one pictures. Let this picture, you see these pictures. I have taken from the net, the pictures are taken. The philosophy. What is the philosophy behind this picture? If you see the first picture, this first picture, if you see, the subjects are carrying the books. So, I can say the philosophy is that we carrying the education. The purpose of education is not to carry the education. Purpose of education is that the education should carry us. If you remember the Tagore philosophy beginning, Tego written in one of his book. It is there. In Bengali it is said, শিক্ষাকে আমরা বহন করিয়াই চলিলাম, বাহন করিতে পারিলাম না. That means Tego said that we carry the education. Education is not carry us. So we want a education system where the education is only, that education is enable us to enlighten the society or work in a society for the betterment. So if I say that somebody said that, okay, I will open a motor driving school where I will teach that how the clutch work, how the gearbox work, how when you push the brake, when you push the accelerator, all kind of theoretical description I have given, and you give the exam, you get X grade in motor driving. Are you an educated person? Or the purpose of the education has met there? So purpose of that motor driving school education is that I should able to drive a car in a specific road condition of a specific car type. So maybe you can say that within 1 month you will able to drive a 4-wheeler lightweight motor vehicle on this type of road condition. So that is skill. That skill is required. Think about that when the society are evolving. What is the need of education? What is the purpose for education? Why this education system was developed that time? Why this education system is exist in society? If you see, in any society, there is a lot of activity. Somebody has to make a material, somebody has to make a medicine, somebody has to use that medicine for a particular purpose, somebody has to make the cloth, somebody has to make the cloth material. So different kind of skill labor is required by the society. So it is not that physical labor, it may be mental labor. I have to invent a different kind of material which is more useful, but I have to skill, I have to work for betterment of the society. So actually society required a skill labor, which may be research, which may be development, which may be repairing, all kinds of things. To sustain that skill things, the education system was evolved. So if I say I am producing a graduate BTech engineer in civil engineering, I should able to specify why this person is called a civil engineer BTech. It is not that he has a degree from Institute A as a civil engineer. So what are the skill set a person should acquire to declare him or to accept by the society that he is a civil engineer? So I have to develop the skill set. I cannot say I know many things on civil engineering, I know structural design, I know that theory, those much theory, I know how to solve a differential equation, everything I know, and once I give him some civil engineering work, I say I don't know how to execute this work. So not only the knowledge, I required a skill. Suppose that English honours graduate, I am an English honours graduate, and somebody told me to write a letter, and I am not able to write down that letter. So what is the purpose for education? Nothing. I may have a English honours certificate in my home, but I cannot do anything. So education required not only the knowledge, I have to develop the skill. Skill may be a mental skill, may be a cognition skill, skill may be a psychomotor skill, skill may be a effective skill. So whatever the skill, but that should be skill. Once a learner learn the skill, he never forgot it. So then the question will not come that the end of the 4th year program, I am not able to spell out the name of the subject. So, how to do that? This is the biggest challenge. How to do that? Third challenge, how to allow continuous improvement in curricula by incorporation of better educational resources, more effective teaching, ensure the outcome of education. I am saying create industry ready engineer, but anywhere, any field, it should create a effective educational system. So, suppose I have done something, I have educated because I have this skill. So, it developed the skill. So, I require a mechanism by which I can continuously improve the curriculum. Suppose I have an automobile, let's I taught a automobile engineering, and I cover in my syllabus, I cover a automobile engine which is already obsolete in the markets. So, what is the purpose for teaching that automobile engine? Because that will never be used. Let us give an example in electronics. Suppose I start basic electronics from bulb, diode, pentode, that technology is already obsolete. So, I have to improve my curricula, not that okay, we have a system called curriculum committee, they will design a curricula and that will run for 20 years. After 20 years, somebody said yes, revision of curriculum is required, and we revise the curriculum, and again we set a curriculum. That is not required, because day by day technology is changing. So, we have to revise the curricula continuously. So, how do you do that? Continuous improvement of curricula and also active resources. Somebody today there may be many software which are available, which is used in engineering education. If I not cover any of the modern tools and uses, then the whole purpose of engineering education will be lost. So, how do I incorporate day to day change in my curricula structures, and how do I design a curricula which is only reflect the skill which is required by a student. Okay. So, how to do that? This is one of the biggest challenge. Next challenge, how to ensure examination system reinforce the teaching and learning. If I ask you what is the purpose for teaching and what is the purpose for evaluation, examination system, we say yes, the purpose is that we should take a summative mid-sem exam, end-sem exam, provide a grade to the students. Think about, is the purpose for examination system is only to provide the grade? Think about any analysis, any examination. Suppose if somebody doctors told me to do your blood test, okay, I do my blood test and something is find out, some they analyze and some report is generated. What is the purpose for that report? What is the how to close the loop? What is the purpose for the report? To rectify something in my body based on that evaluation. So, but in education, if I say I have taken the evaluation, I provide him EX grade and that is complete. Is it for that only? No. So, purpose for examination is to reinforce the teaching and learning. The teaching learning process which I have followed during the semester may be relook from the evaluation result. How many of us examine the paper after providing the grade? Many of us are not. But purpose of the examination system is not to provide grade to the students. It is the reinforce, how to design the back feedback system, how to reinforce the teaching and learning. So, I want to design a systematic evaluation and assessment system which not only provide the grade. This is not the primary objective. Primary objective is that I have to reinforce the teaching learning process which I have followed in my class. How to do that? Next question is how to ensure lifelong learning. Biggest problem, biggest skill is required. Student has to have a skill, or student have a skill by which they can learn by themselves. So, everything if it is spoon-fed to the students, that is not the education. They have to know or they have to develop their skill how to learn by own self-learning ability. If I just give him that all information which is called spoon feeding, he cannot do anything. So, I have to develop each and individual student skill of self-learning. After that 4-year program, they will be placed in various industry, various places where they have to study by themselves. So, they have to practice, they have to know or they have to develop a skill by which they can grab new material and learn by their own. So, how to nurture that skill in conventional education system? Next is how to teach a large class. Biggest problem. People say best teaching is that one-to-one teaching, when private tutoring, that I teach one student, I can see the face contact, I can revisit back and forth, go back and forth, go back and forth, and I make that learning is, I have ensured that learning is happened. But today I cannot expect that okay, my class there will be only 30 students or 50 students or 20 students. There may be a 400 student in my class, but this is not viable today. So, I cannot say that I cannot teach a large classroom, but we have to think what kind of technology, what kind of teaching learning process we should use so that we can teach a large classroom. So, what is the problem in large classroom teaching? If I think about the problem in large classroom teaching, so there may be a 400 students in my class. Most of the students who are sitting in the back bench, I am sure they are doing active Facebook. And if you stop the mobile, let us allow that nobody is allowed to enter the lecture hall with mobile. Yes, I can do that, but what has happened? They will come in the class and bodily present, mindly absent. Or it is a 400 student class, how do I take the attendance? I cannot ensure which student is come in my class and which student is not come in my class. So, think about what kind of teaching learning process and technology tools I can use so that I can ensure or I can scatter to each and every student. Another problem in a large classroom, many of the teachers said that first row the students are very bright, they are following my lecture, second row they are following, but it is not that much acceptation, last row I have forgot, they will never learn. So, I am not teach for those students, I only teach for these students. If you do that, then the problem is those students will be deprived. So, I want a teaching, why these things has happened? Because every student has its own learning capability and learning style. Some student can fast acquisite the concept, some student can slow acquisite the concept. So, in a 400 student class, I am saying that I have to scatter to every student of different learning ability, because some students are very good learner, also learning style and learning approaches, somebody learning approaches is different. So, how do we scatter to different kinds of learning style, learning approaches and different kind of intellectual capability of the student in my class. So, what kind of teaching learning process I am adopt, so that I can ensure that whatever his teaching learning process, whatever his capability of learning things, yes, I am ensure they learn by their own space, they learn by their own methods, they learn by their own attitude. So, that is the biggest challenge. So, what about the question I have raised in the slides? If you see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions, after completion of this course, I am sure you will able, or you can say that you will get the answer of these 6 questions. So, entire course is designed such a way to give you the answer, whatever the issues I have raised in the class, how to improve the student engagement, how to equip students with 21st century knowledge, skill and attitude, how to improve the continuous curricular improvement, reinforce teaching learning, lifelong learning, how to teach a large classroom. So, all are the questions and answer will be there during the entire course. So, I will give you the answer. Every answer is there. Teaching learning process, learning methodology, curriculum design, all are there, which will ensure these 6 questions. Okay? Next is that question for engineering education. Many people said that our engineers are not employable. But I think that only 2 questions exist. What is the full set of knowledge, skill and attitudes and their level of proficiency for a student should develop as they graduated from any institute? So, somebody in industry said the graduated students of institute A is not employable in my industry. Maybe say, let us say. Then I have to, how do I solve this problem? To attack this problem, my first question is that this industry is not a particular industry, full of industry. What kind of skill, attitude and knowledge required by a set of industry and up to what level? So, I have to analyze what kind of proficiency of level of skill, attitude and knowledge is required by the society. This means society. So, my job is to produce a manpower which will be used in society. Society may include research lab, may include company, may include private sector, public sector, all are included. So, many people said I require this kind of job, this kind of people who have a this skill with this proficiency level. Second people said yes, I require this kind of skill who have a skill this level. So, once they are come up and then we can say okay, institute A may said okay, I will scatter to this skill up to this level. So, industry which they thought okay, this skill is good for them, they can take those students. So, but what is required? Every industry, or I have to figure out what kind of skill, attitude and knowledge and up to what level is required by today's society. Yes, society means to increase the employability of the students by the industry, by the research lab or by the society, direct employment, entrepreneurship, whatever, what kind of skill is required. Okay? And their level of proficiency. So, these questions is answered by 3 things. One is called engineering accreditation, Washington Accords or NBA. What accreditation says? That define the minimum skill should be acquired by a graduate engineer, that means 10 plus 2 plus 4 year engineer, that is defined by the Washington Accords or NBA guideline. So, once if I say my program is NBA accredited, that means my program guaranteed the minimum skill set required by the students for to become a graduate engineer, and I ensure that that is developed on the students, then okay, this skill set, the procedure for development of the skill required by the industry is fulfilled. Okay. So, in Washington Accords and NBA, what is they have done? They have generally defined the skill, but for defining domain specific skill, I have to consult with industry. So, my opinion is that if you write down the outcome which students will able to perform at the end of the course, as a teacher I write down that is available in open. Then this can be accessed by the industry and put their comment, okay, this kind of outcome is not required, I require this kind of outcome. So, this is the freedom of academia, then change the outcome. Okay. So, by three process, that engineering accreditation, outcome based education, and active participation of industry for defining outcome of education. If these three things can be done, then I can say the answer of the first questions is given. What is the second question? How do we ensure that students develop their or acquire those skills? So, I require a suitable pedagogy or suitable pedagogy for teaching learning process, which ensure that end of the teaching learning process student will acquire the desired outcome. So, what kind of pedagogy I should follow in my teaching learning process, which will ensure the students will develop the desired outcome at the end of the course. Next question, valid, reliable assessment and evaluation. So, at the end of the course, I have to certify the student A meet the outcome with the level of proficiency. So, suppose course A has a 6 outcome, and at the end of the course I have to certify that out of 6 outcomes student A achieved 5 outcome 100% and 1 outcome 0. If I able to do that with a valid and reliable assessment system, that is not by today's education. Like that today I cannot actually correlate the grade or marks with the student skill. A student may take a subject, he can get 90% marks, but actual skill, how much he developed, has a question mark. So, I required a valid and reliable assessment system by which I am ensure or I can certify the proficiency level of acquired outcome of the student. I will details discuss what do you mean by reliable, and this is there assessment and evaluation system. I will discuss validity and reliability of assessment and evaluation. Then resource shared by industry. Industry said the students of Institute A does not know anything about this software. I require the knowledge of this software because they will be using here to develop this thing. So, that is why they are not employable. But if you say only that, it is not sufficient. Industry also has take an active role. Industry should say, yes, this kind of technology we are using, technology is shifting in this paradigm. So, they should share their resources to the education institute, so the student can become mastery using that resources. Resources is not meant for computer, classroom, chair, table, not that. Resources, educational resources, maybe unsolved problem, maybe new software, simulation tools which can have a student version and student can actively work on there and learn something. So, resource shared by industry, that is also important. So, the question number 2 can be achieved by these 3 statements. So, I can say to produce a engineering education or to produce industry ready engineer in Indian engineering context, this 3 and 3, 6 process has to be actively followed. There is a role of industry in academia and there is a role of academia to cooperative industry also. So, this cannot be done by organizing a workshop in industry academia collaboration. This is not possible. We require an active collaboration between each and every courses with the industry and continuous feedback. It is not one time feedback. So that it can continuously develop or upgrade my curricula, continuously enrich my curricula, so that students get their desired outcome which is required by time t, today's time. Maybe requirement will be changed if t is changed. So, continuously I am changing the requirement goal of the students and students are acquire their skill and their employ. So, how to do that things? I will show you a teaching learning process and design of curriculum where you can do this thing actively. It is possible to implement it. Next question. So, propose teaching learning process that, so we want to develop a teaching learning process and curricula. This is my dream that will support this objective. First objective, to improve student engagement by promoting safe learning so that within limit learners are allowed to follow their own pace and learning style. I will describe in the next class when we discuss about the framework. To equip students with 21st century attitude and skill, let's example UG engineering student need to take considerably more responsibility for their own learning than is the case at present. Learning to learn communication skill, working in a group are to be important learning outcome in addition to domain specific knowledge. Continuous improvement in curricula by incorporating better educational resources from industry domain expert through this framework which we will propose is present. Provide adequate training to faculty member for effective teaching. It required adequate training to the faculty member to how to teach effectively, not deliver the lectures coming in the class and delivering some information, that will not effective teaching. So, provide adequate training to the faculty member for effective teaching, train the faculty member to evaluate the student skill using more scientific approach. That means, how to ensure the examination system is not only provide grade to the student, it is there to reinforce the teaching learning process and healthy online debates on course subject. It is not possible, it is not required so the physically you have to present during the debate. Online debate can be possible on course objective, teaching learning strategy and evaluation. So, this objective which I presented in the last of this class, those are achievable, or those are, we can say that this is my wish that I want to design a teaching learning process or curriculum design, scientific approach for curriculum design and assessment and evaluation system by which those objectives are achieved, those goals are reached, those milestones are achieved. So, those I want. So, next class, first I define the accreditation and then I so I show how the outcome based curriculum design only support to fulfill the accreditation process. Okay? Thank you.